Mark chapter 14 verses 32 to 42. Then they came to a place which was named Gethsemane. And he said to his disciples, "Sit here while I pray." And he took Peter, James, and John with him, and he began to be troubled and deeply distressed. Then he said to them, "My soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even to death. Stay here and watch." He went a little further and fell on the ground and prayed that if it were possible, the hour might pass from him. And he said, "Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will." Then he came and found them sleeping, and said to Peter, "Simon, are you sleeping? Could you not watch 1 hour? Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." Again he went away and prayed, and spoke the same words. And when he returned, he found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy, and they did not know what to answer him. Then he came the third time and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? It is enough. The hour has come. Behold, the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." From the Mount of Olives, Jesus took his disciples down to the Garden of Gethsemane at the foot of the mount. At the Passover meal, and on the way to the Mount of Olives, Jesus had predicted the betrayer, abandonment, and denial he would face at the hands of his disciples. Now they had arrived at a place where Jesus often took them for prayer. Praying in the same spot is a good habit. It puts you in the right mood to pray. That's just what Jesus did as he faced his greatest trial. At a certain spot, Jesus told most of the disciples to stop and wait, and continued with only Peter, James, and John. As they walked, he expressed his agony to them. The Son of God unburdened his heart to his closest human companions. It is my assumption that the rest of the disciples were not mature enough to bear his sorrow yet. Further along, Jesus told the three, "Stay here and watch." It was night, so if they were close enough to watch Jesus, then they were also close enough to hear his prayer. That was Jesus' intention. He wanted them to see and hear how he prayed over his mission. But instead of staying alert and supporting Jesus in prayer, the three disciples fell asleep. After praying, he returned to the three. This time he told only Peter, "Watch and pray, lest you enter into temptation." Earlier that evening, Peter had been told that he was going to deny Jesus 3 times. Jesus wanted him to be spiritually strengthened so he could face this temptation. After another prayer, Jesus came back to find all of them fast asleep yet again. This time Jesus said, "Rise, let us go." Jesus was equipped to face the most severe experience of his earthly life. But the disciples were not, because they had slept through the time given to them for prayer and preparation. They were not ready to meet the trial. Jesus responded to their weakness by saying, "The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak." We are just like the disciples. God knows our weakness, and the Holy Spirit intercedes for us when we are broken into pieces by our trials. Are you watching and praying, or are you sleeping? The burden of soul winning is now on us. It is time to rise up and go out to reach the lost. The prayer that Jesus offered at Gethsemane, the one that focused on the salvation of the world, is supposed to be our prayer too. Just as Jesus prayed for the Father's will to be accomplished, so we should be praying the same as He uses us to save a dying world. Abba, Father, all things are possible for you. Take this cup away from me. Nevertheless, not what I will, but what you will.